Chop and drop is really rethinking how we approach our landscapes, because our landscapes today are basically designed with the assumption that fossil fuels are cheap and readily available. And so the main strategy people use is when you have to prune back a plant or remove a plant, you're going to take it and throw it in the garbage, or if you're lucky, the green bin. But either way, you're removing it from your property. And that's honestly a really wasteful practice that we've only developed because we expect to be able to buy fertilizers for cheap to replenish these nutrients. But if you turn things around and say, this is full of minerals, like comfrey, let's see if you can see this. Comfrey has a really deep taproot. It's basically, I would call it a nutrient pump. It's good at finding nutrients deep in the soil and pumping them to the surface. And if I were to chop these leaves and decide I just don't want them anymore, then I'm losing all the minerals contained within these leaves. So what I'm going to do instead, lay this on top of the soil, create a thick layer of mulch that will suppress weeds and feed soil life. I'm hardly even worried at all about cutting this comfrey because it grows so quickly. Like, not even within a week, this is already going to be putting out new leaves. So, just put that down, move on. Same thing here. This plant is mint. So many people will tell you, never plant mint. It's so invasive, it's gonna take over. But that's exactly what I want, because in a world where we have weeds that are invasive plants that don't bring us many benefits, why not make our invasive plants something that smells good and is herbal, edible, and medicinal, you know? So just gonna chop that down. To some people, this looks like a disaster. So many plants, just a weedy weed patch that you can't even see the bottom of, which when you look close, it might look like that, or to the inexperienced eye. But if you actually understand like what the goal is here, then you start to understand that, oh, this crazy looking garden is actually accomplishing something. It's this crazy looking garden is unlocking minerals that are already within the soil and feeding the huge diversity of creatures that live here. So feeding them with plants and roots and mulch so that they can successfully unlock these insoluble nutrients into soluble forms that plants can eat. And at the same time, recycling these nutrients instead of just throwing them away, we're recycling them back into the surface of the soil, building up what will eventually break down into humus, which is basically the final form of decomposed organic matter, which has so many benefits for the soil itself. Let's cut this one too. Got the hori and the sickle. Is this communism? Right here is a calendula plant. It's kind of past its peak this year, but let me show you something. So here's one of the calendula flowers. It is full of seeds. All these little horseshoe shaped things. They're actually crazy looking seeds. Calendula seeds. Now I could go through all the work of like collecting these all and like having my jar of calendula seeds and trying to plant them at the right time, but that's a lot of extra work. My hope is that this plant can seed itself. And so all we're gonna do here is we're just gonna like fling some seeds around. Probably just planted at like 100 seeds. And there's even more on here still. So what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna chop and drop these in all sorts of different places. Toss these seed heads wherever they want to land. And then let's chop it off at the base instead of pulling it out. you're watching this video, you probably understand that our current approach to landscaping is not sustainable. It's reliant on cheap fossil fuels to keep bringing us imported fertilizer. And the plants people choose are really just a bit boring. It's so uniform. Everyone's choosing the same 5 plants, the boxwoods, the maple trees, the Kentucky bluegrass lawn. And because of that, we're losing biodiversity. Our residential yards and our urban spaces are an opportunity to invite nature to live here with us. The pollinators, the birds, whatever it may be, you know, to an extent. You know, you don't want bears in the middle of town or whatever, but I'm trying to distill out this knowledge of how to actually implement this in our residential landscapes. So we're doing that with our 1,500 square foot food forest, where we are today doing chop and drop to recycle nutrients into the soil and feed the soil life, the fungi, the bacteria, the nematodes. But also this fall, I'm gonna be expanding that into our front lawn, which I'd say is about also 1,500 square feet, or maybe like 1,000 square feet, but I'm gonna turn it into a spicy lawn. So instead of just grass, we're going to be adding yarrow, clover, crocus, other creeping ground covers, maybe creeping thyme. My goal here is to clarify these concepts into really actionable small things you can do, like chop and drop, which is just knowing that all you need is a sickle and a hori-hori to be able to chop down plant matter and recycle it into your soil, or a hot compost pile, where all you need to do is take a pile of organic matter and pile it up big enough until it heats up. And these simple strategies are, they're not complicated to do, but these are skills we've basically lost because cheap fossil fuels and basically a monoculture of the mind, everyone thinking and doing the same thing and expecting this continuous supply of water and fossil fuels, everyone's doing things all the same. So how are you supposed to know the alternatives? I'm currently addicted to Kirkland Signature tropical energy drinks. Not from the garden.